So you got yourself a new Fire Stick or a Fire Cube or a Fire TV, whatever, and you want to know how to use it. Well, frankly, using it is pretty simple. You're going to get around just fine on your own. However, I've got a few tips and tricks that will, I think, make your trip into Fire TV-dom a little easier, a little more pleasant, and a little more customized to your taste. So let's go over 7 of my top tips for new Fire TV device owners. All right, let's dive in. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video or if it's helpful to you in some way. Appreciate you joining. Like I said, I've got 7 tips and tricks for somebody who's just pulling their first Fire TV device out of the box, okay? Now, these are beginner's tips. We're not going into advanced features like side loading. I'm not even gonna go really into gaming on this particular video. We're trying to make this really simple just for somebody who wants to enjoy their streaming content in the best way possible. So with that in mind, the first thing you need to do once you've got your Fire TV device plugged in is to open up the Fire TV app. If you don't have it downloaded, get it downloaded. Grab your smartphone, download the Fire TV app, and voila, it looks just like that. What is it? Well, it's basically a remote. Well, why do I need that? I've got a remote right here. I don't need it on my phone. Well, you may not need it very much, and you may not need it so much in the future, but especially when you're first setting up your Fire TV device, it pays to grab the app. And why is that? Well, when you first get started with your Fire TV device, and this goes for any device, whether it's a Roku or an Apple TV, a Chromecast, whatever. When you first try to get your device set up, you're gonna be doing a lot of logins. You're gonna be doing email addresses and usernames and passwords, all that stuff. And it pays to have this handy. And the reason for that is right up here in this corner, the little keyboard symbol. When you come across a login page, for instance, and it's asking you for your email address and your password, it can get really laborious to try to click through the keyboard on your remote. So you pull open your phone and you can type it out on your phone much, much faster. Now, this may not seem like that big a deal, right? It's just an email address and password. Well, after you've done it 5, 6, 10 times, depending on how many apps you're logging into, yeah, it can get very, very boring, very frustrating. When you mess up one of the words, you have to go all the way back with the little clicker on the remote. Not a lot of fun. Now, beyond that, it's not just about typing in passwords. It's also about, well, basically having a remote anytime, anywhere. If this remote ever gets lost, or if it runs out of batteries and you don't really want to walk upstairs to go get new ones, whatever, then having the remote available on your phone is just a convenience that you may want to use going forward. And who knows, maybe you'll like it more than the actual remote. Tip number 2 is learn to love your home button. Now, yeah, if you click on the home button, it takes you back to the home page, but if you hold that home button for about 2 seconds, it'll bring up this screen right here with some of the most used options that you'll need. So you can switch profiles, check out your apps, find new apps, put it to sleep, do some screen mirroring. We'll talk about that in just a moment, and go to your settings. And this is going to be very important. You should spend a lot of time in settings when you first set up the device. So simple, easy, get to know that home button. I'm going to be using it a lot during this video. For instance, tip number 3 is getting rid of autoplay. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my home screen here. If I come down here to one of these titles, let's take The Rings of Power. Okay, that's come out pretty recently. Yeah, it starts playing the trailer pretty loudly. I hope you can still hear me over that. So what are we supposed to do about that? Well, again, I'm gonna long hold on that home button, head over to my settings, and let's go to preferences. Now, when we go to preferences, we're gonna come down here to featured content, and you'll see allow video autoplay and audio autoplay. So maybe you don't mind that it starts playing a little bit of video, but you don't want it to be so loud. You can just turn off the audio. If you don't want either of them on, you turn them both off. Pretty simple, right? But now if I go to that home screen and I come down to The Rings of Power, it's not going to start playing that trailer. It's not going to annoy me with noise that I didn't actually ask for yet. And that brings us to our next tip, which is also about unwanted noise for some people. When you go through the Fire TV menu, you'll hear a lot of clicking. Every time you go somewhere else, it's got that click on, right? Now, some people like that. They like that kind of audio feedback when they're clicking buttons to know that it's working. Other people really hate it. If you're somebody who hates it, again, let's go to that long hold on the home button, come over here to settings. This time I'll go to display and sounds. Go down here to audio. and turn off navigation sounds. Now, as I go through, every time I click a button, silence. Okay, so again, you may prefer to have that on, some people do, but if you want to turn it off, very simple. Let's do a couple more things from the settings, okay? I'm gonna go back to my settings here, and I'm gonna come down here to accessibility. Now there are a lot of accessibility options. You can see here closed captions, voice view, that sort of thing. I'm actually gonna go look down here at screen magnifier. This can really come in handy for, well, frankly, somebody who needs a screen magnifier. Maybe your eyes weren't what they used to be. Maybe your TV is very small and you need that screen magnification. Well, you can turn it on from here, and that's great, but pay attention to this screen right here. It's actually gonna give you some cool tips for how to use the screen magnification. The one thing that I wanna mention to you right up top is hold back and fast forward. That enables and disables your screen magnifier wherever you are in your menus, okay? So I can turn it off there. I go back to my home screen. Well, if I hold back and fast forward at the same time, you can see it turns on the screen magnifier all by itself like that. Like I said, there are some other shortcuts that you'll want to get to know if screen magnification is something that's going to be useful to you. Start memorizing that list. It'll really come in handy. All right, we're almost done with the settings, okay? We're going to go back to the settings one more time, and we're going to turn off data tracking. What is data tracking? Well, it's exactly that. It's your Fire TV device keeping track of what you do, what you watch, how you act on your Fire TV device. Mostly they do this for advertising purposes. That data that they collect is very, very valuable to them because they can sell it off to advertisers who want to advertise to you specifically. Now, if you don't want them to track your data, very simple. You just go over here to Preferences, come down here to Privacy Settings, and you can see these are all turned on. Device usage data, I can turn that off. Collect app usage data, turn that off. Interest-based ads, turn that off. Now, it's clear why you might want to turn that off for privacy reasons, right? You may actually want to leave this on though, because if you're going to be served up ads, some of us might say, hey, it's worth it to get ads that I might actually care about instead of ones that I really, really don't. That's a judgment call on your part. I'm just showing you how to do it if you'd like to turn that tracking off. Because that's one thing about the Fire TV ecosystem is that you're gonna see quite a few ads. You know, right under here, under recently watched, right there is sponsored. And that sponsored list is now different than what it was when I turned off the data tracking. For our last tip today, let's talk about screen mirroring. That's where you take another device, like your phone, like your laptop, for instance, your tablet, and you mirror it with your Fire TV device. Now, I'll tell you how to do it, and then we'll talk about why you might want to. Again, I'm gonna long hold on my home button and go right over here to mirroring. Make Amazon Fire TV Cube discoverable to nearby devices. Great. So I turn that on, and now it'll say, all right, so if you've got a device that's able to do screen mirroring, see if you can find your Fire TV Cube or Fire TV device, a Cube in my case, on your app list. Okay, so on my phone, I'm gonna open up my settings and go to screen mirroring. I'm gonna go to my connection and sharing, screencast, and I wanna search for some display devices. Now that my Fire TV device is in pairing mode, there it is right on my list, Craig's Fire TV Cube. Okay, so I want to start recording or casting. In this case, I'm gonna cast my phone screen up to my Fire TV Cube. Now, why would you want to do this? Maybe there's some media on your phone that you want to show on the big screen. Maybe it's a movie that you have saved locally on your laptop or your phone or your tablet. Maybe you have something going on. You've got family over and you want to bore them with your photo albums on the big screen. Fantastic, you can do that right here from your device. And to stop doing that, I just go back to my device, go to where the screencast is located and disconnect from my Fire TV device. Pretty simple. Now it's done display mirroring and back to my regular Fire TV screen. So there you go, a few tips and tricks for you with your brand new Fire TV device. Like I said, you're gonna wanna spend quite a bit of time in the settings menu. Check out some of what is available there for you to do on your own. I highly recommend at least skimming through each of these menus to see what you can customize, see what you can change to make your Fire TV device as good as possible for you. And if you have any other tips or tricks, please drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. I could have made a list of about 30 of them, but I wanted to keep it reasonable. So anyway, hit those comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to drop by on Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern for the live streams that I do on this channel right here. I would love to see you there. Thanks for coming by, everybody.